Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. Number to call if you want to join the program, 888-589-8840. In a quick word from Syria, I've said this before, I've said it all week, there are no moderates in Syria. There are no moderate Muslims over there. Everybody that's involved in the rebel faction is connected to the Muslim Brotherhood or Al-Qaeda or have sympathies along those lines. There are no good guys to back in Syria. So the reality is when President Obama, the CIA now is sending weapons and materiel to the rebels. We are funding jihad. We are funding Al-Qaeda. We are funding the Muslim Brotherhood. Our president right now, by sending weapons and ammunition and other materiel to the rebels, our president is funding jihad. I mean, it's just staggering what is happening right in front of us. We are funding jihad. Now, if you do that as a private citizen, you go to prison. We're sending people to prison every day of the week. Every week, somebody's getting sent to prison for funding jihad. That is what our president is doing. That's what the CIA is doing right now as we speak. Here's a story from Time Magazine. They have a photographer over there who witnessed a brutal execution of 4 people in an open square. These are the rebels doing this, the people that John McCain says are the good guys, that President Obama says are the good guys. We've vetted these guys. These guys are fine. They're moderates. They're out there literally cutting the heads off of fellow Syrians that are on the other side of this civil war. These are the people that we're told are the good guys, people to back. I'm not even going to read you the details because it's too grisly. But they cut the heads off of these 4 victims in a public square. And here's what the photographer says. That scene in Syria, that moment, was like a scene from the Middle Ages, the kind of thing you read about in history books. The war in Syria has reached the point where a person can be mercilessly killed in front of hundreds of people who enjoy the spectacle. That was the disturbing thing. All the other Muslims standing around cheering this cold-blooded decapitation of these 4 people who probably were part of the Syrian army. As a human being, I would never have wished to see what I saw. But as a journalist, I have a camera and a responsibility to share what I saw. I will close this chapter soon and try never to remember it. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the guys that John McCain and Lindsey Graham and John Kerry and Barack Obama say are the good guys that we need to help. Let's go back to the phones. Are you willing to have Obamacare shut down if this defund Obamacare bill goes forward? Let's go to Dennis in Jackson, Mississippi. Dennis, welcome. What's on your mind?
Hey, Brian. Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome.
Can you hear me, Brian?
Yes, I can. Go right ahead.
Okay, I thought my phone was messing up for a second. I've called my congressman, Greg Harper, twice this week to let him know what I thought, and I called him again today to ask him about sponsoring this bill, and the person that I was talking to didn't know about it. Probably did, but acted like they didn't. But I've been staying on him. I give him a call at least once a week on everything. So I just hope he gets on board. I would be in favor. I told him I'd be in favor of shutting this thing down, and told him that I hope he didn't follow Boehner's example. Told him there were a couple of him and Cantor were a couple of spineless firms, and they didn't need to be following that leadership. So I hope he signs on to it. I'm going to call him again Monday.
And Dennis, just to close the loop on that, when you called your representative's office this week, you got the impression from the person that answered the phone that they didn't really know what you were talking about?
That's right.
Well, I will flat out guarantee you they do mind. When did you call, Dennis?
After your show had started.
Was that today?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Well, they know about it now because you called.
Yeah, they sure do.
Did you specifically urge your representative to become a co-sponsor of the Tom Graves bill?
Yes, I did.
And it was like she didn't even know what you were talking about.
Well, it was a guy named Alex, but yes, I did.
Well, he does know about it now, and he's gonna know a lot more about it by Monday. Well, that's good, Dennis. I appreciate your call, and thanks for reporting back. And, Monday's going to be D-Day. Monday, ladies and gentlemen, is the invasion of Normandy. You talk about a key date in human history. We have the opportunity. I'm telling you, we have the opportunity to be a part of history here. This is D-Day. This is the invasion of Normandy. This is when the American people can rise up as one and stop Obamacare. We can make it politically impossible for John Boehner to put a bill in front of the House that funds Obamacare. That's up to us to do it. It's in our hands. Call your representative. Get your friends to do the same thing. Well, listen, I appreciate that, Dennis. Thank you. Let's go to Durek in Little Rock, Arkansas. Durek, welcome to Focal Point. You willing to have government shut down in order to defund Obamacare?
Yes, I would. What they've been voting on is detrimental to the U.S. anyway, so it can't hurt us anymore. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I agree. And I refer you back to that poll we saw, NBC News, Wall Street Journal, and this doesn't directly relate to the Obamacare thing. It relates to the debt ceiling, which we're going to have to deal with by October 18. But by a 2-to-1 margin, the American people, Durek, do not want the debt ceiling raised. Now, what that tells me is that people like you and like me, Durek, they are fed up. They have had it up to here with this irresponsibility in Washington, D.C., this lack of fiscal responsibility. They've had it. They want all that nonsense to stop. And what I'm suggesting, the place to start correcting that is right now with Tom Graves' defund Obamacare bill. All right, Durek, are you gonna give your representative a call?
Yes, I am. I did not hear if Tim Griffin was on there. I don't think I heard his name.
He was not on the list, so he definitely needs to hear from you. Now he may.
I'm gonna call.
And this is why I think it's important when you call your congressman's office, don't ask him if they support it. Ask them to be a co-sponsor, and ask them will Representative whatever, will he co-sponsor Tom Graves' bill? I'm urging him to support it and become a co-sponsor of Tom Graves' bill. Will he co-sponsor Tom Graves' defund Obamacare bill? Get him to answer that question. All right, Durek, listen, I appreciate that. Thank you for that. Let's go to Peggy, Tampa, Florida. Number to call, by the way, if you want to join the program, 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. Especially like to hear from you after you have called your representative's office and urged them to become a co-sponsor of the defund Obamacare bill in the House. Peggy, welcome. Are you willing to see the government shut down if that's what it takes to defund Obamacare?
Well, first of all, I wanted to say that I don't think everybody's remembering when our president was running, he made it. He made a point to say he was going to be clear about everything. As a matter of fact, everybody in his department there, and when they're talking on the news, it's funny, they'll all say, let me be clear on this one thing. And they have been clear on this. And what do we have? Exactly what he said. We've got big change in America. We've got such big change that I don't even hardly recognize it as our country anymore.
Yeah.
Now, what he's trying to do, we have to understand what he's trying to do, and that is to create jobs. And the jobs that's going to be created is going to be to build prisons in many, many, many counties that I guess we're all going to have to go to when we can't afford to pay this thing, because myself and everybody that I know, we're still struggling. I don't know who's doing real good still yet, but America hasn't bounced back to where we're still struggling paying our electric bills and stuff. Jobs are still bad here in Florida.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something, Peggy. I've got 2 or 3 stories in the stack. I've had them for several weeks. I just haven't had time to get to them, where guys have actually been committing crimes so they can be sent to jail or sent to prison for the food, the lodging, and the health care. They're actually committing crimes. Things are so bad. They're so desperate. One guy went into a bank and held it up for $1. And then he sat there and waited for the police to show up. And he said, look, that's what I want. I want to go to prison because they take care of me there. I mean, that's how bad things are. All right, Peggy, listen, I appreciate the call. Thank you for that. And Rob, why don't we grab clip number 1? This is Harry Reid expressing his actual sorrow for John Boehner. He has sympathy for Boehner because Boehner now is governing against the will of his own caucus. He's governing against the will of grassroots conservatives in America. Here's Harry Reid, all sympathetic for John Boehner.
As we all know, the Speaker has a problem, how to get government funded. I want to be as helpful to him as I can be, but I had to be very candid with him, and I told him very directly that all these things they're trying to do on the Obamacare is just a waste of their time. As I said on the floor today, the anarchists are winning. Anything that can be done to slow down, hurt, or get rid of government in any way, that's good. Shutting down the government, obviously, is what the majority of the Republican caucus wants to do in the House. And hey, listen, I like John Boehner. I like him. But Dick said I don't know how you said, Dick, you feel sorry for him, but what'd you say?
Not so much.
But I do. But I do feel sorry for him. I mean, he has to break away from those people that are ruining the Republican Party and hurting our country.
So that's Harry Reid feeling sorry for John Boehner, talking about how they want to shut down government. Ladies and gentlemen, this Tom Graves bill, House Joint Resolution 62, this bill will fund every aspect of government except for Obamacare. Be sure you get this in your head because they are going to lie to you. The Republicans are going to lie to you. They're going to say, we don't want to shut government down. You're not shutting it down. Harry Reid and the Democrats are shutting it down. If it gets shut down, it's not you doing it. You're funding the government. You're funding everything but Obamacare. Your bill keeps everything open, keeps the spigot open, and it funds a lot of bills that we find perfectly objectionable. But we're willing to fund that in order to shut down Obamacare. So you're the ones that are shutting down government. We're the ones who want to keep government open and keep it lubricated and keep it running. You're the ones that want to shut it down. And I'll have to save the Chuck Schumer clip. Maybe, Rob, we can play that coming out of the break on the other side, the Chuck Schumer clip, because Chuck Schumer in this next clip, I'll set it up and we'll hear it on the other side of the break. Chuck Schumer is admitting here that the public is not with the Democrats and Obama on Obamacare. The longer this thing, the AFL-CIO, they are making threats now against Obama. You've got to repair this thing. You've got to fix this thing, or it's going to be trouble for you. This is killing unions. Their health care plans are going to be taxed. The 40-hour work week is gone. They do not like any one part of Obamacare as it's rolled out. Back in 2. Stay with us.